cardboard sitting in your recycling bin right now is worth more than the fertilizer you're paying $80 a bag for, not as packaging, not as mulch, as living soil, black, rich, and full of biology that your garden is literally starving for. And you can make it in 60 days. At home, for free. Most people will throw it away today. A few will watch this video and never look at a cardboard box the same way again. This isn't a gardening tip I made up. The ancient Chinese were doing this 4,000 years ago. They called it returning the land. They composted everything, including fibrous plant material nearly identical to modern cardboard, and they built some of the most fertile agricultural land in human history. In 2021, researchers at Cornell University confirmed what they already knew. Carbon-rich organic material, when layered correctly with nitrogen sources, breaks down into humus, the most biologically active form of soil on the planet. NASA has studied closed-loop composting systems for deep space missions, because in space, you cannot afford to waste organic material. The science is settled, the method is ancient, and the results are real. So here's the question nobody asks. If cardboard composting is this effective, if it builds soil faster, retains moisture longer, and feeds plants at a biological level that synthetic fertilizers simply cannot match, well, why isn't this on every gardening show? Why isn't this in every school curriculum? Why is the first result on Google still telling you to buy compost instead of make it? Follow the money. The global fertilizer industry is worth over $200 billion. $200 billion. They don't profit when your soil is healthy. They profit when your soil is dependent on their nitrogen, their phosphorus, their potassium, their product, every single season, every single year. Until you stop gardening or you stop questioning. They didn't bury cardboard composting because it failed. They buried it because it worked too well. A family with thriving compost doesn't need a bag of synthetic fertilizer. Ever. And that is a customer they've lost forever. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you goes even deeper than that. Picture a small farm in rural Zhejiang province, China. The year is 1890. A farmer named Wei, weathered hands, worn sandals, 3 generations of agricultural knowledge living in his memory, walks his field at dawn. The soil beneath his feet is dark, almost black. It smells like rain and earth and something alive. His neighbor, 2 villages over, has bought into the new Western model. Chemical inputs, imported fertilizers, modern methods. Within 5 years, Wei's neighbor's soil begins to compact, to crack, to gray out. The worms disappear first, then the yields drop, then the costs rise. Wei's field, still black, still alive, still producing. Because every season, Wei returns carbon to the soil. Straw, husks, fibrous organic waste, layered with manure, layered with kitchen scraps, left to cook. What he was doing had a name he didn't know yet. Hot composting, carbon-nitrogen cycling, microbial soil regeneration. He just called it farming. Now fast forward to 1943. Sir Albert Howard, a British botanist who spent 30 years studying Indian farming methods, publishes an agricultural testament. In it, he documents exactly what Wei knew, exactly what the Chinese had practiced for millennia. That living soil, fed with organic carbon material, outperforms chemically fertilized soil in every measurable category over time. His book was ignored. His methods were sidelined because World War II had just ended. Nitrogen plants built to make explosives needed a new market. Synthetic fertilizer was born, and everything the ancient world knew went quiet. But it never disappeared. And now, in your backyard, you can bring it back. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the cardboard box in your recycling bin, it isn't just paper, it's a structured carbon matrix. And what happens when you activate it will genuinely surprise you. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside a compost pile. Think of your compost as a city, a living, breathing underground city. When you lay down cardboard, you are building the infrastructure. Cardboard is approximately 50% carbon by dry weight. Carbon is the skeleton, the framework, the scaffolding that everything else is built on. But carbon alone doesn't move. It needs a partner. That partner is nitrogen. Nitrogen is the electricity of the compost city. It powers the microbes, the bacteria, the fungi, the actinomycetes, the invisible workforce that physically breaks down the carbon into something plants can absorb. The ratio matters. Aim for 25 to 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen. Cardboard gives you the carbon. Kitchen scraps, fruit peels, coffee grounds, vegetable cuttings give you the nitrogen. Grass clippings, nitrogen. Old leaves, carbon. Fresh manure, nitrogen. When this ratio is right, the pile heats up. We're talking 130 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit in the center of your pile. Hot enough to kill weed seeds, hot enough to destroy pathogens, hot enough to make microbes multiply at exponential speed. They eat, they reproduce, they die, their bodies become the food. And in 60 days, What started as a pizza box and a handful of coffee grounds has transformed into something so rich, so biologically dense, that a single handful contains more living organisms than there are human beings on the entire planet. That is not a metaphor. That is a scientific measurement. And here's the part they really don't want you to know, because this is where cardboard specifically becomes something almost unfair. Let me give you the numbers, because numbers don't lie. A 40-pound bag of premium organic compost at your local garden center costs between $15 and $25. A garden bed, say 4 feet by 8 feet, 6 inches deep, needs roughly 20 cubic feet of compost to start from nothing. That's going to cost you $120 to $200 every single year if your soil needs rebuilding. Now let's look at the cardboard method. The cardboard? Free. It's your recycling bin. The kitchen scraps? Free. They're your food waste. The grass clippings? Free. They're your lawn. Total cost to build a composting system at home. A $12 pitchfork if you don't own one. And about 10 minutes of effort per week. In 60 days, you produce enough finished compost to feed a full raised bed. Rich, living, structured compost that no store-bought bag can biologically match. $12 versus $200 every year for the rest of your gardening life. Here's exactly how you do it. No fluff, no unnecessary tools. Step 1, collect your cardboard. Remove all tape, staples, and glossy labels. Those don't break down properly. Plain brown corrugated cardboard is perfect. Cereal boxes work, shipping boxes work, pizza boxes work. Just scrape out the grease pockets. Tear or cut the cardboard into pieces roughly the size of your 2 hands put together. Smaller pieces break down faster. Surface area is speed. Step 2, soak it. Dry cardboard resists microbial activity. Wet cardboard invites it. Submerge your cardboard pieces in a bucket of water for 10 to 15 minutes before layering. They should be fully saturated. Damp, not dripping. Step 3, build your layers. This is where the science becomes physical. Start with a 3-inch layer of brown material, your soaked cardboard, dry leaves, or wood chips, directly on the ground. No bin needed to start, though a simple wireframe speeds things up. Then add a 2-inch layer of green material, kitchen scraps, fresh grass clippings, coffee grounds, then a thin dusting of finished soil or old compost. Just a handful per square foot. This seeds the pile with the microbial community you need. Then repeat. Brown, green, soil, brown, green, soil. Build it to at least 3 feet tall. Height equals heat. Heat equals speed. Step 4, water and cover. The pile should feel like a wrung-out sponge, moist throughout, not waterlogged. Cover with a tarp or burlap to retain heat and moisture. Step 5, turn it. Every 5 to 7 days, turn the pile with a pitchfork. Move the outer material to the center. Move the center material outward. This reintroduces oxygen, and oxygen is what keeps the microbial city running at full speed. Step 6, read the signs. In the first week, the center of your pile will heat up dramatically. That's success. That's biology at work. By week 3, the cardboard will be almost unrecognizable, soft, browning, fragmenting. By week 6 to 8, depending on your climate, you will see dark, crumbly, sweet-smelling material at the center of your pile. That is finished compost. That is living soil. That is yours. But wait, because there are a few things that can silently kill your compost pile before it ever gets started, and most tutorials never mention them. Mistake 1, using glossy or coated cardboard. The coating blocks moisture penetration and slows breakdown by weeks. Stick to plain brown. Mistake 2, too much cardboard, not enough nitrogen. Your pile will go cold. It will sit. It will smell like wet paper for months and do almost nothing. Balance is everything. Match every thick layer of cardboard with an equal volume of green material. Mistake 3, not watering enough in dry climates. Microbes die without moisture. In hot, dry regions, check your pile every 3 days. If it feels dry 2 inches in, water it. Mistake 4, making the pile too small. A pile smaller than 3 feet by 3 feet simply cannot generate or retain enough heat to compost efficiently. Size matters here. Fix these 4 things, and your pile runs like a machine. If you want to accelerate the process, and I mean dramatically accelerate it, add one of these 3 activators. Option 1, a cup of dried molasses dissolved in water poured over the pile. Molasses feeds fungal networks. Fungi are the long-distance decomposers. They break down the toughest carbon structures, like cardboard, faster than bacteria alone. Option 2, fresh nettles or comfrey leaves. Both are extraordinarily high in nitrogen and mineral content. They supercharge the green layer and add trace minerals your finished compost will carry into your soil. Option 3, a shovelful of worm castings from a vermicompost bin. Worm castings are pre-digested organic matter. Adding them to a hot compost pile is like injecting rocket fuel into an already running engine. With any of these activators, you can potentially see finished compost in 45 days or fewer. Now, here's what I want to be straight with you about. This method is not magic. It is not perfect for every situation. If you live in an apartment with no outdoor space, hot composting isn't your path. Vermicomposting with a small bin indoors is better. If your climate is extreme, temperatures consistently below freezing or above 110 degrees, your timeline will shift. Cold slows decomposition. Extreme heat dries the pile too fast. And if you need compost right now for a garden bed this weekend, this won't help you today. This is a process, a cycle. It rewards patience and consistency. But if you start today, in 60 days, you will hold something in your hands that cost you nothing. And that is genuinely priceless. Here's what I want you to remember. I knew this. Albert Howard documented this. Cornell measured it. NASA studied it. Civilizations that lasted, the ones that fed millions for thousands of years without a single synthetic input, they all did one thing in common. They returned carbon to the earth. The cardboard in your recycling bin isn't waste. It is stored carbon. It is potential soil. It is the exact material your garden needs to become something truly alive. They tried to replace this knowledge with a $200 billion industry. They tried to make you forget that soil is something you grow, not something you buy. The ancient world knew this. Science proved it. And now you know it. Every time you turn that pile, you're doing something quietly revolutionary. You are closing the loop. You are building something that cannot be sold back to you. Don't throw that cardboard away. Every share of this video keeps this knowledge alive and takes one more person off the fertilizer dependency they never knew they were in. Start today. Your soil is waiting.